Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores. I've given myself nearly probably over 24 hours to let my whole voice box rest because I was struggling during that stream yesterday evening. But either way, we have two major topics to break down today. The first half will be the Washington Commanders getting a package of terrible news on Monday, as in November 10th. Like a package of it, y'all. Like not just one thing, several things. And then the second half of the video is Joe Whitt getting demoted. And we're going to dive into whether he should be fired, whether it's soon, sometime after maybe this game in Spain, going into the bye week. Should he be fired, a few weeks later? Should he definitely be fired by the end of the season? We're going to dive into stats and everything. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, injuries are a big reason as to why this season is going as horribly as it is. But Joe Whitt Jr. is his own problem himself. And we're going to dive into why we can separate the injuries from Joe Whitt Jr.'s poor coaching this season. We're going to dive into all of that and more. But before we do, make sure you still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, and still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this. So make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Appreciate y'all for supporting all of the videos, man. Shouts out to my watch to the end gang, those of y'all that watch the videos all the way through. Shouts out to my late night crew. I'm recording this right now. It's nearly 10 p.m. Eastern time. By the time this comes out, a lot of y'all are going to be in them vampire hours, putting in the late night shift. So I appreciate y'all. And shouts out to Noti Gang that'll be there as soon as I release this video and all of my other videos as well. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. And let's go in chronological order so y'all can feel the exact same way that I felt as the news was coming out, like rolling out, like bit by bit. We got one injury update. Then later on, we got another one. And it's just like, come on, man. It just felt like boom, boom, boom. Like, come on, man. Chill, man. No more bad news. I'm about to turn off my internet on my phone or something, bruh. I feel like since my phone is connected to the internet, I'm just destined to get bad Commanders injury news, man. I mean, it's really crazy. So first of all, back at 3 p.m., Dan Quinn went ahead and announced to everybody that rookie cornerback, arguably the best corner on our entire team from how he's played this season, up to the point that he had a hip injury that he suffered against the Seahawks and he tried to play through it against the Lions and he just didn't look like himself. But before the Seahawks hip injury and the hip injury bothering him against the Lions, I would say Trey Amos has been the best corner on this team as a rookie. Yes, that guy just fractured his fibula, and Dan Quinn already said that he will miss some significant time. Like, that's an exact quote from him. Will miss some significant time. So now, Commanders rookie, second-round cornerback Trey Amos is likely done for the season after suffering a broken fibula in the team's loss to Detroit yesterday. A promising rookie campaign comes to an end, and the injuries just keep coming for Washington. That's coming from JPA Football. That's not even a Burgundy and Gold fan, not a Burgundy and Gold reporter, beat writer, nothing. This is a completely neutral national NFL Twitter account, sports analysts and stuff like that. Everybody's noticing how hurt we are, and I promise you, we're going to dive into that eventually in this video. But even JP Finley confirmed Trey Amos has a broken fibula and likely out for the year. And that really sucks, man. I'm really upset. I mean, the injury thing is one thing. Of course, prayers, get well soon. I don't want to see any of my guys down and out. But I really feel like Trey Amos still, even to this point, had a good chance of at least competing for Defensive Rookie of the Year, bro. I really felt like he was in the running. I forgot who it was, but it was one of those neutral national draft analysts out there. It may have been ML Football. It was somebody, and they had their ranking of Defensive Rookie of the Year leading candidates and things like that. And this was right before the Chiefs game or after the Chiefs game, before the Seahawks game. They still had Trey Amos second out of all defensive rookies around the NFL in who should win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Trey Amos was right there. The hip injury made him look a little bad, like two halves of separate games. The second half of the Seahawks game first half of the Lions game before he ended up suffering the broken fibula. But outside of that, bro, I felt like he had an honest chance of at least being in a strong running for Defensive Rookie of the Year. So I'm just sick for that, man, because, you know, you can only win Defensive Rookie of the Year once. You know, that's your only chance. Once he comes back as a sophomore, there's no way he can win Defensive Sophomore of the Year. You know what I'm saying? Unless he goes out there and wins Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, corners do it. Pat Surtain did it for the Denver Broncos. But that's not as likely, not as easy to achieve at all. But shouts out to Mark Tyler, because I completely agree. He said, I've never seen anything like this in all my years of watching the NFL. I haven't either. Again, we're going to dive into it. And then we also got an update that Jaden Daniels will not even go to Spain with the team, Dan Quinn announced. And then he also announced that Terry McLaurin will go to Spain. He will go to Madrid, but he will not play. He's just going out there for a free vacation, which is like, that one is like completely, I'm like bamboozled. I'm astonished. I feel like I've been hoodwinked. I've been led astray because he hasn't been going to the games at home. Y'all do know that we've been playing at home for the last couple of games against the Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. We played in Landover, Maryland, at home in the DMV, PG County, and Terry McLaurin has not been going to those games. As soon as we go to Spain, he's not even playing, but he's going to Spain. Like, that is crazy, Terry. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people out there blaming Terry McLaurin for the entire season. I'm not going to go that far, but that is a crazy look. Like, it was already a slightly crazy look that you weren't going to the home games already. It's right there. You know what I'm saying? You just got to cross state lines real quick. You're right there. You can easily attend these games and root for your brothers on the sidelines and things like that, like everybody else is doing. Everybody else is hurt is still going to the games unless they're like on IR, torn ACL, you know, things like that, which we're going to dive into later as well. But everybody that can at least walk at the games, Jaden Daniels at the game. But as soon as we go to Spain, Terry's like, I can't miss this Spain opportunity. Hey, I ain't mad at him. I ain't going to lie. Me, if I were Terry McLaurin, I'd go to Spain too. But it's just weird that he hasn't been going to the other games that were at home. And then as soon as we go to Spain, he's gone. But at this point, though, who's even going to Spain and playing? Who's actually going to be playing against the Miami Dolphins, bro? Like, who's doing both? Going and playing. We're going to dive into that after we pay some bills real quick. So before we get there, shouts out to Sleeper, man. With them, you have a chance to 1,000 times your cash with daily fantasy football, man. Washington football, I know it's gone downhill season-wise, but we have a lot to look forward to draft-wise, and we still have a lot of young talents to watch throughout this season. I still will be live streaming these games Sunday night, Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, Monday night, all of that type of stuff. Pretty much every game except for Christmas, I will be here live streaming with y'all because there's still a lot of football to care about, watch, analyze, break down, scout, all of that type of stuff. And you can pick on stats for guys like Deebo Samuel. Hopefully Bill has a bounce back game. You can pick on stats for these guys like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times your payout on Sleeper. And right now, new users can even get a free $20 without a deposit like you see on the screen right now, on top of the already up to 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit using promo code SCORE, that's SCORE, or you can just click the link at the top of the description of this video and every video on live stream I'm doing all season. And just to dive into some picks real quick, because we always got to do that, man. I started to put together this 8-leg literally right before I started recording. Drake made the free one, you know what I'm saying? As long as he throws one passing yard, we're good to go. Then I need Travion Henderson to just not score a touchdown. Now, Patriots offense looks crazy. You saw the touchdown he scored last week where, I mean, he just ran, what was it, like a 70-yarder or something crazy. But all he has to do is not get a touchdown. As long as the Jets somehow force the Patriots to score any other way, we're good. Travis Kelce, I think he can get at least 46 receiving yards against the Denver Broncos, especially since they're going to be so focused on stopping all of the receivers like Rashee Rice and things like that. Pat Mahomes, I think he'll throw for 2 touchdowns. I know the Denver Broncos are arguably the best defense in the NFL, but Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. I think Justin Fields can at least throw for 1 touchdown, right, against the New England Patriots. I think Breece Hall can get a touchdown in that game as well. I think Puka Nacua is going to get a touchdown against the Seahawks because, I mean, that game could turn into a shootout. You saw what the Seahawks offense did against us, and right now my Georgia dog Matt Stafford is arguably in the lead for MVP. So that's probably going to be a shootout. I think Puka Nacua capitalizes on that. And then Jalen Waddle, bro, not even yards, not even touchdowns. All he needs is 6 receptions. I think he can get that. And right now, if you put 10 on this, you can end up winning $685. You put 20, you can end up winning $1,000. 370. I mean, hey, man, I think this is quite likely. I may actually go ahead and put this in when I'm done with this video. So just stay tuned. Again, shouts out to Sleeper. With them, you can 1,000 times your cash, depending on how you finesse the 8 legs and everything like that. Now let's get back to this video and dive into these injuries, man. And all of that we just talked about before we had to pay some bills real quick was already bad enough for me to start getting my notes together ready for this video. I wasn't at home, but I was seeing Dan Quinn speaking to the media, announcing that Trey Amos going to be out probably for the rest of the season. Terry McLaurin traveling, not playing. Jaden not traveling at all of that type of stuff. And then just a couple of hours later at 7 p.m., the Commanders' official Twitter account, not even like Dan Quinn speaking to the media, we got this through a tweet. Everybody first found out about this information through a tweet. I ain't gonna lie, looks like Ja'Cory Brooks may finally get his chance because the following players will not travel with the team to Madrid, and they've already been ruled out for Sunday's game tonight as at Monday, November 10th. We already know 6 days later, these guys will not be playing. Of course, Jaden Daniels. Of course, Ale Cahill going through concussion protocol. Trey Amos with the fibula. How about you got to add Traylon Burks with a finger injury as well, bro? What is going on? According to Seawall Sports, she said wide receiver Traylon Burks had a minor surgery today on his finger, and it's not expected to be a long-term issue, but we've heard that a lot. We heard that with Terry. We heard that with Jaden Daniels. We heard that with D. We've heard that with so many guys that's not expected to be long-term. That doesn't mean that it's definitively not going to be long-term at all. You know, that's how, you know, technically they're not lying. They're saying we're not expecting it to, but hey, if it does end up being that way, at least we didn't tell you that it would. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way they keep their hands clean right there, which is how you're supposed to do things as a head coach, as an organization. That's how you're supposed to update the fans and the media with injuries. But hey, man, it's just, again, this Traylon Burks thing, I wouldn't bet on it, is my whole point. Like, they're saying it's not going to be long-term, but brace yourself for how this season's been going. He may be out for season 2, bro. It's that bad. Shouts out to my boy Deuce Red Zone at Red Zone in the Lab. Brings up a great point. Again, the reason why I went in chronological order, he said, I wake up from a nap and we have another injury. This season, man. This season, raise hell, though. So we're still holding firm. We're still diehard Burgundy and Gold fans. But it's taking a toll on us, man, too. Shouts out my boy Let Martella. He said, just go ahead and put Traylon on IR. Stash the gym. And he put in parentheses just jokes like saying, you know, Traylon Burks had basically, he had a good game against the Lions, but don't overreact to it, basically. But he said, and get him ready for next season. But golly, put everyone who got as little as a cough on IR at this point. I is through. I is over everything. I mean, like, golly, we can't have nothing, y'all. I's tired, dog. I am tired. Now, our already razor thin wide receiver core just got even thinner. I mean, look at this right here while I'm going to break down a few other things for y'all as far as how bad this injury situation has gotten. Like, look at this, bro. Any given play, we will have a maximum of 4 or 5 starters defensively on the field at any time. Anytime our defense is on the field, at max, we'll have 5 guys that are supposed to be starters that are out there on that field. It is insane. And then offensively, it's our starting defensive line and then musical chairs with every other position group, every other player, basically. I mean, even Chris Rodriguez left the Lions game at some point and didn't return. You know, he wasn't included in this Monday night update for the Sunday game that he will not play at all. Like, we already know for a fact he's not playing. But I'm pretty sure Chris Rodriguez is going to pop up on that Wednesday injury report, and I'm not guaranteeing you that he will even play against Spain. Again, especially with a bye week afterwards, they're going to play it safe with everybody. With a bye week after this Dolphins game in Spain, when in doubt, they're just not going to play you so you can have 2 weeks to recover rather than forcing it within just 1 week. So we'll see. And like Rio said, man, it feels like we lose a starter literally every week. And matter of fact, it's not even feels, it literally is. Like, we literally lose a starter every week, bro. And it's like long-term injuries every time, too. It's not banged up, miss one game, come back type of stuff. I mean, we have more starters out long-term than games played right now. And even sadder, Traylon had 3 catches, and the injury reaper pulled up like, checks out. You know what I'm saying? That's enough to almost be considered a starter. You're done too. Let's go ahead and sit you down for a few games as well, man. You know, technically you're not like a starter coming into the season, but with all of the injuries that we've had, Terry and Luke McCaffrey and all of those guys, now you're technically a starter going into that Lions game. Injury Reaper said, that's good enough. That checks out. Let's go ahead and get you up out of here too. I mean, I'm just hoping whoever has the Commanders voodoo doll, whoever cursed us, whatever, does not allow this to carry into 2026. I beg you, whoever it is, if you somehow watch this video, please, Rico of StreetScores is begging you to please leave us alone, man. I mean, Treylon Burks just had 3 catches on 3 targets, 58 yards. Looked like our most productive receiver in that game. Like, looked like the guy that cared the most. You could argue Treylon Burks showed some of the biggest flashes that we saw from any player in that entire Lions game on either side of the ball. Shouts out to Deuce Red Zone. He said routes, check. Hands, check. Toughness, check. Separation, check. And most importantly, hope, check. I'm really excited about Treylon Burks' future. Sadly, that's going to have to wait a little longer. That's going to have to be further and further into the future at the way that this is going right now. Shouts out to DC Sports News 365. He said, ain't no way the Commanders find someone that can finally catch a ball, as in Burks, and he has a finger surgery after just 1 game. Rough, man, this year has been something else. You just gotta laugh at some point. Now, granted, Treylon Burks did play a little bit against the Seahawks, but he only had 1 catch. As soon as he's finally on the field a lot and featured in the Lions game, immediate injury, bro. I don't know what we're doing wrong. Now, granted, some people will argue that Treylon Burks is already fairly injury prone before he came here, but it's everybody. You know, he's just part of a laundry list, really a ninja scroll of injuries that we've had this season. Honestly, it's to the point that if I'm a free agent, I'm literally not even signing with the Commanders this season. There has to be something wrong. I'm not even like a super jinx type of person, but if I were a free agent right now, I'd wait until the 2026 offseason to sign with the Commanders. I'm so serious. This is the single most hurt Commanders or Redskins team, whatever you want to call them, I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I would argue by far. And I can't honestly think of a close second, for real. Like, we are easily the most hurt team in the NFL this season, and we're probably in, of all time, conversation as far as NFL history, one of the most hurt teams ever, bro. And because again, it's not even just backups, it's the fact that it's starters, and it's not just injuries in general, it's long-term out for season injuries. And then, like, okay, say the 2 starting defensive ends both get hurt. How about the third guy that's supposed to step up and start in their place? He's out for season as well. Like, we can't have nothing. Terry and Debo in and out of hurt. Now Treylon Burks hurt. Luke McCaffrey done for season. Like, we can't have nothing. Look at the cornerback room, bro. Lattimore gone for season. Now Trey Amos is gone. We already lost Will Harris at safety, and Jonathan Jones was out for a while, just got back. It's bad, bro. We got to the point where Hamilton and Noah Benogany were starting corners for you at a certain point in that Lions game, bro. I mean, again, like, people try to say that injuries are part of the sport. I understand that, but this is an extreme even for the NFL, dog. Like, this is not normal, y'all. I don't know exactly what it is or what to call it, but I do know for a fact this is not normal, even for the NFL. And shouts out to Deuce Red Zone in the lab for posting this picture and saying, move everything to Aldi Field until 2030, bro. Like, just at this point, don't even play in, it's not even FedEx Field anymore. I already forgot what it's called, but either way, like, just stop playing there, bro. Just leave it alone. Just Northwest Stadium. Yeah, just leave it alone. Stop playing there. Play anywhere else, bro. At this point, I know the Giant Stadium gets a lot of flack, but at this point, we'd be better off playing there, bro. I mean, it's horrible. But you know what's crazy? And I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but none of the super old guys on the team are getting hurt. Like, that's the craziest part about all of this. Like, some people keep saying with, like, no logic or proof at all attached to it, but I've been seeing, the Commanders are the most hurt team in the NFL because they're the oldest team in the NFL. That's what happens when you put together the oldest roster in the NFL. But I don't think y'all have noticed. None of the old guys are hurt. Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, Von Miller out there every game, all game. Bobby Wagner's the only one that even shows up on the injury report, and he practices in full every time. I don't think Bobby Wagner has missed a practice this season unless it's been rest. Like Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner, the older guys have rested, but none of those old guys that have our average age being the highest in the NFL out of all rosters are the guys getting hurt. It's young guys. It's like somewhere like, Trey Amos is a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. But I don't think y'all truly understand how ridiculous this year has been, man. I mean, look at this right here. Commanders injuries this season. QB1 out for season. At least you would assume, and I'm definitely to the point where I'm like, I wouldn't want to bring him back, but that's just me. RB1 out for season, Austin Eckler. Wide receiver 1, basically out for season the way Terry McLaurin's been going. And Deebo Samuel, he's wide receiver 2, but he's been in and out. Even the game, he's been out a couple of games, and then even some of the games he did play in, he was a shell of himself, like the Bears. I remember like Ian Rappaport going into the Lions game, I think it was, or maybe the Seahawks game. Ian Rappaport said this is like the first game that like Jaden Daniels is gonna have a healthy Deebo Samuel in a long time. So it was the Seahawks game that like that was the first time we've had a healthy Deebo, and he's been playing in some games. Like he played in the Bears game, super duper a shell of himself. Didn't play against Dallas. Then he returned against Kansas City. But again, Ian Rappaport said going into that Seahawks game, that's the healthiest Deebo Samuel's been for a while. So my point is, even though Deebo Samuel's been playing, he's been banged up. He hasn't been out for season. This whole graphic is to show y'all how many people have been out for season. Of course, Noah Brown. I forgot he was on the team. I guess you could consider Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver 4, out for season. Remember, Samuel Cosme didn't even join the team until week 7. Edge 1 out for season. That's Dorrance Armstrong. Edge 2, Dietrich Wise out for season. And again, like I mentioned earlier, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, he's the 3rd edge rusher on the depth chart. He's coming to start in place of your top 2 guys being hurt. Well, mostly the first guy, Dietrich Wise. And then now he's out for season because Dorrance Armstrong got hurt after all 2 of those guys. Then Lattimore out for season. Also, Will Harris seems like he's been out for season. We'll see if he comes back at the end. But so far, he's been pretty much gone since like week 3 or something like that. And mind you, that what I just showed y'all was before the Lions game where we just lost our best corner on the entire team in rookie Trey Amos and what looked to be the best receiver on the team in that game in Treylon Burks. He's not better than Deebo. Of course, I'm not saying that, but he was the most productive, most consistent guy making contested catches, all of that. Robbie Chosen out there just letting passes go right through his hands. And we don't even know how long we lost Treylon Burks. And what's really crazy is that every major injury is something different, except for like Lattimore and Armstrong having the same injury. Everybody else is having some different injury. Like we're not even having the same injuries happen to us to where it's like you can point to this is why this is happening. Dorrance Armstrong, knee with ACL. Same thing with Lattimore, ACL. Austin Eckler, Achilles. Luke McCaffrey, collarbone. Dietrich Wise, quad. Javonte Jean-Baptiste, pectoral, bro. Like, what can we do? And now you got to add Trey Amos on the list with a fibula, bro. Like, this is absolutely insane. Shouts out to Karen McVino on Twitter because she brings up a great point. This is honestly the Commanders' biggest opponent this season. Nobody else has done the Commanders as bad this season as the injury reaper, bro. As the hospital, as the ambulance, however you want to look at it, bro. Nobody has done us worse than the injury bug, bro. It's absolutely insane. And also moving on, let's not forget that we will be without Daron Payne as well for one game, even though he's one of the very few healthy players, let alone starters, even on this team right now. Daron Payne will go on the reserve suspended list for this week since his 1-game ban was upheld on appeal. It clears a roster spot for the Commanders while they're in Madrid, so if they want to elevate somebody to take his place, they can. Remember, he punched Amon-Ra St. Brown. Javon Kinlaw in the locker room after the game tried to say that Amon-Ra St. Brown punched him first. I haven't seen footage of that, but he seemed pretty passionate about it. We'll see. But either way, Mark Bullock brings up a great point. Like, what did they even appeal? We see you in how'd they get you in 4K? 4K, Payne. RDC clip, man. Like, they got you in 4K punching Amon-Ra St. Brown. You clearly punched the guy in the face after the play was over. Like, what did you appeal? Like, I'm confused. I understand Frankie Louvu appealing the hip drop tackle, which they took away the suspension, but still fined him $100,000, which is crazy. That was so crazy that even Micah Parsons was like, what, $100,000? That's still not good enough. He should not get a fine. He should not get a suspension or anything. But either way, that's a whole different issue. Daron Payne, I have no idea what you were appealing, dog. And then also Ben Standig brings up some interesting points. He said, something I have not understood amid all the defensive line injuries. While Washington has not yet signed any vet to the practice squad, they have undrafted free agent defensive tackle Ricky Barber and international pathway player defensive end TJM. Maguruyanga. I hope that's how you pronounce it. You know what I'm saying? I kind of learned it in the offseason, and I already forgot it by now. But that was my best attempt at that. But he also said, and we brought in multiple vet wide receivers. We brought in a different safety in Darnell Savage. We brought in different running backs, different corners, but no defensive line. I mean, of course, we brought Drake Jackson in, but we signed him to the IR immediately the day after we signed him, knowing that we would put him on IR when we signed him. You know, maybe he'll come in and be some sort of a bright spot for us defensively towards the end of the season. We'll see. And also, Ben Standig said this is in light of Daron Payne's suspension. They have 8 defensive line edge rusher options, which is fine, but that's bare minimum, and it's not like all of those players are rotation locks. Jaylen Holmes was inactive against the Lions, and that's a great point. That was weird going into that game knowing that Jalen Holmes was inactive, with us already having all the injuries that we have. And then also, Daron Payne is hilarious, bro. Because I don't know if y'all know, he was one of the captains of the game, and he's the one that led the huddle before the game started, right? And he kept going on this whole rant about you got to strain for this, you got to strain for that, strain, strain, strain. Well, how about you strain for about a quarter, dog? You know what I'm saying? That was the funniest part of the whole thing. His whole message was strain, and he gave us about a quarter of strain. So I thought that was hilarious. Either way, let's pay some more bills real quick, and then we're going to come right back with all of the Whitt Jr. stuff, man. Man, shouts out to Mint Mobile for rocking with the kid as this video's sponsor. And Mint Mobile works, y'all. It's crazy how that's unique to the industry, but it is. My dogs at Mint Mobile offer premium wireless without the premium price tag, bro. I hope you caught that. Premium wireless without the premium price tag. All plans include unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network, plus free calling to Mexico, Canada, and the UK, and plus, hotspot is even included. It's 10 gigabytes worth with unlimited plans. And they are out here for real, y'all. I mean, Mint provides 5G coverage to 98% of Americans and 4G LTE coverage to 99% of Americans. And they offer a lot of data options as well. Who doesn't like options? You can choose from the data amount that's right for you, so you don't overpay for something that's one size fit all and all of that type of stuff. It's super customizable, man. The average American only uses like 7 to 8 gigs of cellular data each month. But with Mint Mobile, you can select 5 gigabytes if that's what you prefer, 15 gigabytes, 20 gigabytes, or just unlimited data each month. And again, they have options for you, man. And switching is even easy. You can sign up and activate in minutes with the eSIM from the crib, like the cribbo, like chilling where you are right now. It's that easy. And you can keep your phone number and all of your contacts as well. I know that's something that a lot of people worry about. Mint Mobile has you covered there too. And they have your back. 96% of users rate themselves as highly satisfied with Mint's customer care as well. I know that's another worry that people have. Mint Mobile has you covered there as well. And then what about the money back guarantee? Well, all of Mint's plans come with a 9-day unconditional money-back guarantee, so you're good from all angles. And for this holiday season, you can get 50% off an unlimited premium wireless plan from Mint Mobile. Click the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now and lock in Mint's lowest price of the year and pay just $15 a month for a 3, 6, or 12-month plan. You don't even have to agree to a multi-year contract, but the more you buy, the more you save. Again, shouts out to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this video. Well, Whitt Jr. is officially done. ... Calling plays. Not in DC in general, but just calling plays. Dan Quinn, along with the press conference where he announced to Terry McLaurin, Trey Amos, and Jada Daniels news, he also announced that he will be taking over as play caller on defense. Wow. I thought, after the way that the last few games have gone, like the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Seahawks, I was like, well, if Dan Quinn's not going to take over play calling duties, after those defensive performances, I just thought he never would. So I was actually a little shocked when he said he was taking over play calling duties after the way that Lions game went, because it went just about as bad as all of the other ones, so I thought that was interesting. But either way, Search the Shooter brings up a good point. He said he about to get hit with some tough questions if they look the same or worse than before defensively, though, and that's a good point. But Commander's Realm also brings up a great point. He said, I feel like it's a bit of a lose-lose for Dan Quinn. If this ends up making a significant difference, unlikely. It's even going to raise the question as to why it took the worst 4-game defensive stretch in 20-plus years to do so. Why did it take you so long to identify that? So if the defense looks the same, it's going to be like, well, Dan Quinn didn't do anything. It's just the defense is just that bad. Maybe both of y'all are that bad. If the defense is worse, that's the worst case scenario. But even if the defense looks better, that's going to look bad head coaching wise for Dan Quinn. Like, well, what took you so long for you to start taking over and calling the plays? That's just him being too much of a nice guy, I guess. And also, shouts out to Resh Manuel, brings up a great point. This is not the first time that Dan Quinn has taken over defensive play calling duties. In 2016, Dan Quinn took defensive coordinator responsibilities from Richard Smith in Week 13 for the Falcons. With the exception of an in-season game against the Saints and the back half of the Super Bowl, the defense was notably stronger. So maybe the defense will look better. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it may not even be a situation where Dan Quinn is able to draw up a better defense. it's probably one of those things where different voice, different results, and, you know, different from basically worst defense in the NFL, historically one of the worst defenses of all time. Anything different from that is automatically got to be better. Once you're at the bottom, the only way you can go is up. So we'll see. But either way, even beyond that, Joe Whitt Jr. announced, he said it himself, yes, Joe Whitt Jr. will remain with the staff. He said that he will continue assisting the game plan during the week and will move back to the box on game day. So what was the purpose of all of that? First of all, again, not firing him is crazy already. Like that, Dan just, you know, being buddy. I hope the next defensive coordinator we bring in after we fire Joe Whitt, more than likely in the offseason, is somebody with a completely different philosophy, completely different everything, man. We need a young, innovative guy. We need a like a Mike McDaniels type of guy. I don't want this old, we do this through discipline and grit. No, I want a genius. I want, like Rio says, I want a nerd as our defensive coordinator. I want a guy that's outthinking the opponent, bro. So please switch that up. But even beyond that, bro, why is he going back up to the box, bro? Why is Joe Whitt Jr.? What was the purpose of him coming down to the sideline for one game and then going right back up to the box? I don't even get that. Shouts out to We Want Dallas, though. He said, Quinn using the travel to Madrid as an excuse to delay the possibility of firing is another week. Smart. From a tactical survival standpoint, a good showing would be huge, would allow him to drag this human shield, as in Joe Whitt Jr., into the final 6 weeks. That's a good point, too. Like, you know, not firing him outright, but he's still involved. But Dan Quinn takes over play calling. He kind of can use Joe Whitt Jr. as like, well, see, it wasn't just him. You know, I mean, it wasn't me. It's still Joe Whitt Jr. is still here. He's still involved, and maybe you can be mad at me as a head coach for that and being too nice and being too, you know, that's my dog, and being too loyal and things like that. But schematically, you can't challenge me because Joe Whitt Jr. is still a part of possibly the problem if things keep looking so bad. But I'm already telling you right now, with the injuries that we have, no matter who's our defensive coordinator, things are just going to look bad. But going back to this whole going back up to the box thing, bro. I mean, why did he even come down to the field for one game and then go right back up? Just have to let Maul tell it. He said not to make a big deal out of this, but I'm confused about going back up. I know Dan Quinn said he wants his eyes in the sky in a sense, but Whitt also said that it was his decision to come down. Joe Whitt Jr. was the one that asked Dan Quinn for him to go back to the sideline. And then also players requested it as well and said that that could help. So if they asked that of him, why would you go back up so easily after just 1 week, or after you're no longer the play caller and now you're just going to ignore what the players asked of you? Like, I don't know. I think it's interesting. We'll see how this goes. I just feel like we're doing a lot of silliness right now, a lot of pointless moves. We brought him down to the sideline and then you go right back up. So what was the purpose of that move anyway? We're relieving him of play calling duties, but he's still on the roster. How much of a difference is that making? You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. Also, shouts out to Commander's Realm. He said, just can't fathom how you give Joe Whitt Jr. a free trip to Madrid. He got physically closest to the team on the sideline, and they somehow got even worse. And I thought that was a hilarious but interesting point, that him going from the booth to the sideline, if anything, things only got worse against the Lions than it was this entire stretch of Cowboys, Chiefs, Seahawks, and then Lions. But shouts out to Grant Paulson. He said a major change to the Commanders' defensive staff after giving up 1,805 yards and 154 points over a brutal 4-game stretch. I want to repeat that. 1,805 yards and 154 points over 4 games, y'all. Which now takes me to how bad this defense has been this year. And I do want to emphasize and point out the fact that injuries have been the biggest culprit for how bad this season has gone. But Joe Whitt Jr. has been bad at coaching the defense as well. I feel like there are too many people out there that just refuse to believe that both can be true at the same time. Injuries killed the season, but Joe Whitt Jr. isn't helping our case at all. I feel like Chad Ryan worded it perfectly, because I've been seeing a lot of Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera jokes out there, but I think this is perfect. This is my favorite quote that I'm bringing up from anybody throughout this entire video. The key difference between Del Rio and Whitt: Del Rio had genuinely talented players on his defense and still struggled to get results. Joe Whitt Jr. has really poor personnel available, whether it be through the roster construction or a lot of it having to deal with injuries as well. But on top of that, he still tries to scheme his defense as if he's coaching the 85 Bears. Both are different, but both are still very bad. Again, Jack Del Rio had talent, and he just couldn't do nothing with it. That's one type of bad. Joe Whitt Jr. is a different type of bad now. He doesn't have as much talent as Jack Del Rio had, at least not on paper, especially due to injuries. But he's going out there and just ignoring the lack of talent that he has and literally trying to coach his team up as if we have the 85 Bears level of talent or the 2000 Ravens. That's literally what it feels like. I feel like that was the perfect way to describe it, bro. And I mean, we got to a point. Let's dive into like how bad this defense has really been, especially against the Lions specifically, bro. The score was 41-22, 6 minutes, 56 seconds remaining. And the Lions already took Jared Goff out of the game for former Washington quarterback Kyle Allen, bro. That was the 4th week in a row that an opposing team's backup quarterback has entered the game at some point in the 4th quarter because our defense was that bad and we were already losing by that much. That is insane. And also, I want to also add to that we didn't even force a punt with Kyle Allen in the game. They even kicked a field goal when he first got in there. The first time that we finally forced a punt, and mind you, this was the only punt we forced in the last 2 games, y'all. It came after Seattle trying to run the clock out while up by 24, ran on 3 straight plays, including 7 yards on 3rd and 8 to make it 4th and 1. So if they honestly wanted to get that first down and continue to go on with that drive and try to kick another field goal, they could have. And we could have gone 2 straight games without forcing the punt if the Lions really wanted to do that. Shouts out to D_right_1. Yesterday's Commanders defense, 0 punts forced, 0 sacks, 0 turnovers, 0 tackles for loss, allowed 546 yards, allowed 320 passing yards, allowed 226 rushing yards, gave up 44 points, legitimately one of the worst performances in NFL history. I agree. Again, injuries have a lot to do with that, but my main point is it doesn't have everything to do with it. Whitt Jr. is his own set of problems in itself, bro. I mean, the Lions had a drive in that game where their shortest gain on one of those drives was 11 yards. They had a 22-yard pass, 11-yard pass, 14-yard run, 11-yard pass, 14-yard touchdown, bro. I mean, that is just absolutely insane, bro. And then, I don't know if y'all saw this, but this was going viral on Lions Twitter, where Dan Campbell on that Jamison Williams touchdown towards the end of the game, that it was like sometime, I think that, no, it was the 3rd quarter. It was early 3rd quarter. It's the touchdown that made it, 32-10 or something like that, 33-10, whatever. Because I don't remember if they went for the 2-point conversion after that one. No, I think they just went ahead and made it 32. Either way, my point is, before that play, I don't know if y'all have seen the clip, but Dan Campbell threw up like a yes when he called the play in before the ball was even snapped. He called the play. Mind you, this is Dan Campbell taking over play calling duties for the offense for the Lions for the first time this year. And within that game, his first time calling plays for the offense for the Lions this entire season, he calls a play and already celebrates before the ball is even snapped and it ends up going for a touchdown. Like, how predictable do you have to be, Whitt Jr., to allow that? I don't care if it's just a random 11 guys out of y'all watching this video, including me, out there on the field. You should know you're about to score before the play starts, bro. And look at this right here, man. Shouts out to Tom Shad for this. They went touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal in a game, bro. We with a punt. Like, I don't even understand, bro. Like, that is absolutely insane, bro. And then look at this graphic right here. Shouts out to Benjamin Solak for this one. And this, not even Commanders fan, not a Commanders beat reporter, Commanders media, social media person, nothing. Just a completely neutral analyst, happened to be watching that Sunday night game. Sunday evening game. And you see right now, these are the 5 best games this season when it comes to first down and touchdown rate combined on dropbacks. And the Commanders have had 3 of the 4 worst passing game performances of any defense in the entire NFL this season. Against the Lions, number 1, against the Seahawks, number 3, and against the Falcons, number 4, bro. And mind you, against the Falcons, we were a fairly healthy team then. You know, we had some injuries, but, you know, it wasn't anywhere near this, which goes back to my point about Whitt Jr. also being a big problem. Shouts out to John Com. He pointed out the fact that this is the 3rd time in the last 35 years that a team has lost 4 consecutive games by 20 or more points. They joined Miami in 2019 and Arizona in 2002. We are basically going into history books of being sorry, of being hot dog water, basically. We're in the history books of some of the worst performances the NFL has ever seen. Also, another thing that doesn't have really anything to deal with injuries is the regression of players, bro, especially the younger ones. Like, okay, we can't control Bobby Wagner getting slower with age, and Zach Ertz, you know, on offense especially, getting false starts because his agent is coming with clumsiness and all that type of stuff, even though that's the offensive side of the ball. But my point is, age hits everybody eventually. Like, it catches up to you. But, like, why did Quan Martin and Mike Sanford still suddenly become bad at football? Even when we were still relatively healthy in the early weeks of the season, while our defense was playing relatively all right and had good flashes of some good defense at times, especially week 1 against the Giants and like against the Chargers later on. And even in those games, Sam Still and Quan Martin looked a little shaky and questionable. Like, they've just not necessarily looked good all season. And then shouts out to Ryan Fowler. Go to his Twitter account because he has a 4-minute, 21-second video breakdown showing you the plays, stopping, rewinding, going through slow motion and everything, showing you as to why Joe Whitt Jr. was the problem. Again, injuries are one thing, Joe Whitt Jr. is another, bro. And if you look at the second clip, bro, shouts out to Mike Hall for pointing this out. He said the second clip second play in this clip is pretty damning. I agree it's on the players that are on the field, but they clearly aren't being set up for success by their coach and the play calling. I mean, the Lions are literally out scheming Joe Whitt Jr. It's not even close. And then shouts out to Chad Ryan for this picture right here. And with this picture, he said, are they booing the president or me? You know what I'm saying? I thought that was hilarious as well. And Joe Whitt Jr. honestly deserves it, bro. I mean, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if some of y'all at that game were booing Joe Whitt Jr. at the same time, looking at him while booing him as well. But also, before we get up out of here, I have a few other interesting points to bring up. Shouts out to Rush Manuel. He said, curious if, with his assistant head coach title, Brian Johnson now takes on more of Dan Quinn's head coach responsibilities to allow him to work more specifically with the defense. That's interesting. Remember, we hired Brian Johnson last year to basically be our assistant head coach, and Dan Quinn even said like he's putting them through like a head coaching training program, so whenever he gets the opportunity to go out for interviews to be like a head coaching candidate, he'll be fully prepared. He would have gone through all of the processes of what to do behind the scenes, how to do it, when to do it, the ways to talk, everything. He's basically been under like a head coaching internship while being our offensive passing game coordinator at the same time with his assistant head coach title. And so that is interesting. Maybe he'll step up, do a little bit more head coaching stuff while Dan Quinn does a little bit more defensive stuff. I think that's a pretty good idea. Shouts out to Rush Manuel for that one. Also, shouts out to Team 980. They posed the question, will Joe Whitt Jr. still have his job as offensive coordinator when the Commanders come back from Madrid next Sunday? I mean, honestly, the real question is he going to be around at the end of the season? Is he going to be here for 2026? At this point, I highly doubt it. I also hope not. We'll see, though. Shouts out to DC Sports Dre. The last point I'm going to bring up, he said it's going to be interesting to see what Dan Quinn does in the offseason about DC. Will he continue that role or hire someone outside of the family? That's just the point. Like, will he just say, hey, I took over play calling duties the second half of the season. Maybe I'll just continue to be the defensive coordinator and defensive play caller even as the head coach moving forward. Maybe he doesn't hire like a full-blown defensive coordinator, just another defensive mind in the room or something like that. Maybe like a defensive right-hand man. Or maybe he'll get some, like I said, I hope he goes and gets somebody completely out of his coaching tree, out of the coaching family that he has, get somebody with a completely opposite philosophy and way of thinking, bro. Stop getting these military tough guys that just go purely on personality and grit. I want a schematic genius defensively from now on, bro. Please go get me one of those. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you feel about everything discussed video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notifications each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. After I'm done recording this video, I'm gonna try to avoid talking for the rest of the night. Yo, it is killing me, bro. But I had to get this video done, and I promised y'all a mock draft. I wanted to get it done by Monday, but it's already 10:36 p.m. I still got to get this video out, so stay tuned. I'm gonna try to get a mock draft out Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, and then I'm trying for, you know, from now on for the rest of the season, I have my mock drafts out on Monday, so it could be mock draft Monday, so stay tuned for those. I'm gonna definitely start incorporating more draft stuff into my content, my daily videos that I'm putting out as well. So it not even just the mock drafts, I'm gonna do like the top team needs, I'm gonna do my favorite players at different positions that we need and things like that. It won't just be mock drafts, so stay tuned for all of that. Like, I want to work on a video on like the best the best players that we could potentially target in the first round, like a whole full dive into who the commander should be targeting in the first round, all that type of stuff. But either way, again, just stay tuned. Shouts out to my Washington End gang. Shouts out to the late night crew. Shouts out to Noti gang. Really appreciate y'all. If you made it this far in the video and you're still watching me and hearing me, and I'm 44 minutes into recording this, I appreciate you and salute you personally. Leave a like on the way out. Let me know how you feel about the whole injury situation. Let me know how you feel about the Whitt Jr. situation. Appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.